What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show. What do you think about that? There's people who argue that we should make all drugs legal and let people have their choice, which is like kind of the pure libertarian argument.
This is such a good question because this is something that I wish I knew the right answer to. Like I was saying earlier, like, oh, I wish when I do a video about homelessness or do a video about drug addiction that I had better answers. I really don't know, like, if drugs should be decriminalized or if they should be illegal or what the process is. I know obviously jail probably isn't the best step for rehab, but I mean, if you have someone selling drugs what's the solution? So I actually don't have a good answer about that.
Yeah, neither do I. And it's like, well, do you draw the line somewhere, right? Weed, fine. Alcohol, obviously, has been fine. You know, maybe you make coke, fine. But do you draw the line at heroin? And then does that, if you do draw the line, doesn't even matter?
Heroin's no different than lean. Heroin's no different than Percocets. No different than Oxys.
Right.
It's the same thing.
But yeah, I'm putting that all in one category.
Yeah,
but
just opioids in general.
I know there was some data in Portugal where they did it. But you also got to remember, when you're looking at other countries, it's very different. Number one, by size. Number two, by culture, right? We are a melting pot here. Portugal's not necessarily a melting pot, right? It's all kind of the same culture, historic culture. So
is it homogenous there? Like,
not 100%. People are going to yell at me for
but
that.
More so.
You know what? Much more so than here. So it's like, you know, can you really cross compare that? I don't know. And then also, like, if you do experiment with some of this, if it goes south, people are going to be losing on Tuesdays in Novembers, and that's never good for those people. You know what I mean? Like, that's what drives all their fucking decisions. I wish it didn't, but, you know, they don't want to take risks like that.
Yeah, like, I think about, like, when I have kids, you know, I thought about what if my kid becomes a drug addict? Because it's so big in my area. It's like, I don't know. Sometimes it's like maybe it is good to have legal repercussions because it's just like an additional consequence that's preventing you from doing the drug. I mean, doing drugs is dangerous enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. What a freaking difficult question. Hopefully one day I'll be smart enough to have a good answer and I can push that. But
I think it's one of those age-old questions. It's tough when you're not in it too, in a way. I mean, you at least get to see it more than the average person, but you know, you don't want to be not. I have tremendous empathy for addiction, and as we laid out earlier with some examples, sometimes people get there because their doctors prescribe them stuff. So like, I don't think the solution, especially in those situations, is like jail or something like that. But also like where it's blurry, right?
It's so blurry because it definitely needs to be treated as like a mental health thing. But so what do you do, for instance, for someone who is constantly like buying heroin and doing heroin and has no intention of stop? They've been to rehab 20 times. I mean, do you just let that person stay on the street shooting up heroin and, you know, stealing stuff from stores? And like, what do you, it's just such a difficult thing. What do you do? Because all my videos about homelessness and drug addiction, what I've learned is there are people that are homeless and there are people that are addicted to drugs that do not want to stop.
Yeah.
They feel like, oh no, this is what I want to be doing. This is my freedom. And they might tell you like a little stop. Yeah, I wish I could quit. I wish I could quit. But if you say like, oh yeah, like I'll pay for you to go to rehab, or I'll, you know, right now we could go somewhere and we could get you help. They're like, oh, no. And there's homeless people that I've tried to be like, oh, do you want me to put you up in a hotel for a few nights? Like we could try to like do like a month or 2 long thing where I try to like help you out. And it always like falls through.
Do you think that's, you know, the devil in them talking because of their mind being altered by the reality they're in? Or is it genuinely because they don't want to?
I feel like it's probably a mix of they just want to stay comfortable in their very free lifestyles they have, and also like fear of looking at this mountain of like, damn, I have to get sober off drugs. I have to find a way to make money to eventually, or yeah, like how do you? It's so many obstacles to jump through. A vehicle, a home. How are you gonna get a good job? And I feel like they're like, fuck it, let's just get high.
God, that's so sad. And we do have such a, I don't know the numbers, maybe we can find some, but especially since the pandemic, you know, we have such an uptick of that all over the place. I mean, have you been to like San Francisco where they talk about this all the time? That's one example they always use.
So I'm yet to do a video there, but I went there in like 2016 or something. But
a while ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's gotten crazy, right?
Yeah, it's gotten crazy now. Because I'd be curious to see, like, I've heard that one's pretty legit. Sometimes I think they overdo it, but nonetheless, they're also not incentivized to fix it, right? I know Joe Rogan's talked about this a ton, but you'll look at some of these cities, and there will be like a job called like homeless people coordinator, and they're making like 200 some grand,
Yep, 6 figures. Yep.
So they're like, the goal of a job like that should be like solving the problem so that the job disappears, but you're creating an economic system where
You're
the
incentivized to keep it going.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And then as far as like, the housing market right now is insane. And there was a guy in Austin, Texas, for instance, that I interviewed in my, it's a little bit of a distasteful title. It's called MTV Homeless Cribs. I wish I didn't title it that. This is a little bit distasteful, but he works a full-time job, and it's so expensive. He went through a divorce, and it was so expensive for housing in Austin that he has a tent under a bridge, and he has an AC unit in there, and he's got a TV with like a Roku or whatever. And yeah, he works full time. Can you scroll towards more of the end of the video?
Roku on it.
Right here.
Yeah, I think it's that guy.
All right.
I'm Brandon. How's it going, Brandon? Got a big flat screen. It's pretty normal life anyway. I'm in the situation, my sister passed away. And at my job with COVID-19, so much of our hours were cut back. But we do everything like everybody else. We work every single day, I'll give you an idea. That's clean. So we work all the time. But yeah, it's not easy. You get hassled by people, hassled by police. But overall, it's not terrible. What bugs me the most is not having access to a shower every single day. I just go to the gym and go shower there. But yeah, it's not. It doesn't suck. It could be better, could be worse. Yeah, I've had this generator for many years, and I didn't always use it for this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't suck.
He's got a TV. You mind if he comes in here for a second?
But yeah, having TV, I've got Roku, so I've got a bunch of stuff to watch. I don't have the Petcock turned on, so that's probably going to die in a few seconds. But yeah, I got the TV on bulk pickup. I got 7 TVs in one night. 6 of them were good.
So yeah, I wanted to show you that to say, like, does that seem like some strung out drug addict that's just a loser? Like, with the current housing crisis, it is so hard to afford a home. I think the average income in America is $31,000 per person.
Sounds
and
right.
And the average home is over $400,000. So how are you going to afford a home? So there's definitely a huge percentage of the homeless population that is there because they have to be and they don't want to be at all. But then there are a huge percentage as well that are there by choice.
Yeah, that's where it gets difficult. I mean, this is pretty eye-opening, seeing this right here. Where was this again? Austin, Texas?
Austin, Texas. And then they come through, they just made it so you can't have tents on the sidewalks, and they come through and sweep these people out. And then, that's like another question. Do you think it's good? I don't want tents all over my sidewalk, but then where are these people going to go? And it's really difficult. I have an unreleased video from Maine. I wanted to do a homeless documentary in Maine because Maine is freezing, absolutely freezing. And I went there in December, and it was like 6 degrees out, ground was frozen. And we went to a homeless camp, and I talked to someone that was there helping, and they told me that the entire homeless shelter was empty, and they can't get people to come into the homeless shelter because they don't want to wake up at a certain time and go to bed at a certain time. They don't want to follow any rules. So instead of following any rules, these people in Maine, specifically Portland, Maine, are sleeping on the frozen ground on like crates and stuff to keep off the floor.
And if we keep, that's the thing though, like everything comes back to economics, which is exactly what you're laying out. And, you ever seen the memes of like the boomers dancing in the retirement home? And it says boomers when they spent 20 grand on a house and just sold it for 4 million, right? So we started this inflationary path, if you will, years and years and years ago, decades ago. And it just keeps moving like that, like a V. And so everything's math, like with it. mathematically speaking, you're going to have more and more people falling so far below the Mendoza scale that they're going to suddenly turn to things like this. Because if there's one thing the pandemic should have taught us as far as like about ourselves, like our flaws, we will adapt to shit quickly. Right? So people, you might say to someone right now, like, oh, could you imagine being homeless in 10 years? And they'll be like, oh my God, no. Maybe 10 years from now, they're in that situation. I mean, this guy seems, like you said, he's not strung out. He's fairly normal. He's living his life. And like, he almost seems slightly happy. Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.